sent his messengers, creatures of the great danger of worshiping other than Allah. There is none greater.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the previous episode, we discussed one of the great bounties of Allah, all glory be to Him, on us, human beings, and the rest of the forms of life on the surface of that planet. And this bounty comes from the fact that Allah has given water, the essence of life, this marvelous fluid. Allah has given it the capacity to merge without complete mixing, to meet without complete mixing. And we said the earliest understanding of this verse was the meeting of fresh and saline water. And when fresh water is debauched by rivers into seas and oceans, we find that the fresh water, due to its less density, can float on top of the marine water for several hundreds of kilometers. And in this process, a fringe of brackish water is formed, and the three media can be three different environments for different forms of life. And nobody could dream of the fact that this can happen with marine waters, but only with photographing the oceans from outer space, scientists came to realize that adjacent bodies of water give different reflections in the photographing process, in different waves of light. And when they came down, they found that actually these two waters have completely different physical and chemical characteristics. With further investigation, scientists came to realize that due to the variation in the physico-chemical characteristics of water, Allah has differentiated the vast water bodies on the surface of our planet into separate entities, horizontally as well as vertically. And the wisdom behind that is that Allah, with this process, has prepared a multitude of environments for different forms of life. And this in itself can prove the magnificent work of Allah, all glory be to Him, can testify for His divine nature as the sole deity in this universe, in this cosmos, without parallels, partners, or similars. And we read two previous verses that speak about the meeting of fresh water and saline water. And we had a verse in Surah Al-Furqan, وهو الذي مرج البحرين هذا عذب فرات وهذا ملح أجاج وجعل بينهما برزخا وحجرا محجورا. And He, meaning Allah, all glory be to Him, is the one who has merged the two seas, rivers and oceans. One is potable, sweet, and the other is highly saline, bitter. And yet He, meaning Allah, all glory be to Him, has made a barrier between them and restricted each of these environments as a special confinement. We also read in Surah Fatir, وَمَا يَسْتَوِي الْبَحْرَانِ هَذَا عَذْبٌ فُرَاتٌ سَائِغٌ شَرَابُهُ وهذا ملح أجاج ومن كل تأكلون لحما طريا وتستخرجون حلية تلبسونها وترى الفلك فيه مواخر لتبتغوا من فضله ولعلكم تشكرون. And the two seas, meaning rivers and oceans, are not the same. The one is potable, sweet, and pleasant to drink, and the other is saline and bitter. Yet from each of the two environments, you eat tender flesh and extract ornaments to wear, and you see the ships plowing through it so that you may seek from Allah's bounty, and that happily you may be thankful to Allah. And this verse also in Surah Fatir speaks about the meeting of rivers and seas, fresh and saline water. The verse in Surah Ar-Rahman actually speaks about a different issue, which means the meeting of oceanic and oceanic waters, marine and marine water, and they don't mix as well, so that Allah can prepare a great multitude of environments for different forms of life. The verse reads, مرج البحرين يلتقيان بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان يخرج منهما اللؤلؤ والمرجان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. He, meaning Allah, all glory be to him, has merged the two seas to meet. Between them has Allah, all glory be to him, has merged the two seas to meet. Between them is a barrier. Neither can transgress. Neither of these different qualities of water can transgress over the other. Then, which is it of the great bounties of your Lord, you, both humans and jinns, can deny? Out of each of which of these two environments come pearls and coral stones. And this is a very precise distinction between this verse and the two previously mentioned verses. The two previously mentioned verses speak about the meeting of fresh and saline waters. And everybody can understand the difference in physical-chemical characteristics of the two bodies so that they cannot mix. But this verse is speaking about two seas from both of which you can extract pearls and coral stones. And we know that both oyster pearls and coral reefs can only live in highly saline waters, in warm to hot waters, in shallow waters. And that's why this verse in Surah Al-Rahman cannot speak about the meeting of fresh and saline waters. He's speaking about another case, that even saline water, if there is a slight difference in the physical-chemical characteristics of each, they can never mix. And we said that this is a great bounty from Allah, all glory be to him, to multiply the environments to suit different forms of life which he has created. Then we come to Surah An-Naml, chapter number 27, verse number 61, which reads, أَمَّنْ جَعَلَ الْأَرْضَ قَرَارًا وَجَعَلَ خِلَالَهَا أَنْهَارًا وَجَعَلَ لَهَا رَوَاسِيَ وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ حَاجِزًا أَإِلَهٌ مَعَ اللَّهِ بَلْ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah, all glory be to him, is the one who has made the earth as a stable abode and has placed therein rivers and has established for it firm mountains and has set a barrier between the two seas. Is there any deity with Allah? Nay, but most of them know not. And here we have a different approach to the same scientific facts, that water, this fluid, which Allah has given it the capacity to dissolve the largest number of solids we know of. This water can meet without complete mixing. And the objective behind that is the multiplicity of environments in water media, so that every form of life can find the suitable environment in which it can live. He, means Allah, all glory be to him, is the one who has made the earth as a stable abode, another bounty from the many bounties of Allah. And we mentioned before that Allah has stabilized the earth, has made the earth a stable abode by the massive amount of iron he has placed into it. And this iron, as we mentioned before, came from outer space. It is of an extraterrestrial origin, came in massive quantities, In exactly the same way, we are receiving iron meteorites today, but in much larger quantities. And this iron, with the cosmic speed, penetrated the heap of ash, the state in which the protoplanet was. It did melt by the heat of settlement, and it fused that heap of ash and distinguished it or segregate it or separate it into 7 distinctive Earths. With a big mass of iron in the internal structure of our planet has helped to minimize the wobbling of that planet as a result of its revolution around its own axis in front of the sun. Not only this, but Allah has also stabilized the outer rocky layer of the earth with mountains. The distribution of mountains on the surface of the globe, first Earth, is actually a very important role in minimizing the wobbling of the earth around its own axis. So, أَمَّنْ جَعَلَ الْأَرْضَ قَرَارًا, who has made all this for you so that the earth can be an inhabitable environment. I'll stop here because we are heading to a short break. And until we meet, I thank you for listening and greet you in our Islamic way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace, mercy, and blessings be with you all.
Although Christianity doesn't have a single credible source to justify her claims of the crucifixion, she yet continues to propagate her myth. They do this by hiding many of their deceptions behind cleverly designed doctrines. Did you know that Christianity stands or falls at the cross? So how did they do this? Join me for the series called The Cross Questions.
Probe the past that proves Christianity in practice is fictitious in The Cross Questioned. Every Monday at 11:30 p.m. and repeat telecast at 12:30 p.m. India on Peace TV. Distinguished world-famous orator who dedicated their lives to convey the message of peace came together at one platform, the International Islamic Conference, with one vision, with one mission, Peace Mission.
I welcome all of you with Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Peace Mission, every Monday to Saturday at 7 p.m. and repeat telecast at 10 a.m. India on Peace TV.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Ja'far Idris. You are watching Peace TV, the solution for humanity.
Welcome back after this short break. Before this break, we were speaking about the magnificent work of Allah, all glory be to Him, the great design of our planet to be an inhabitable planet. And we read this in Surah An-Naml, chapter 27, verse number 61, which reads, أَمَّنْ جَعَلَ الْأَرْضَ قَرَارًا, who has made for you the earth as a stable abode. None other than Allah, all glory be to Him. وَجَعَلَ خِلَالَهَا أَنْهَارًا, and He made rivers to flow therewith, within the earth, many rivers. And we said that this is an indirect reference to the water cycle around our own planet, without which all the water on the surface of this planet would have gone bad. وَجَعَلَ خِلَالَهَا أَنْهَارًا, And these rivers cut channels and passageways in the earth. This is degrade the rock, constitute soil, concentrate valuable minerals, and finally flow into the seas and oceans. وَجَعَلَ خِلَالَهَا أَنْهَارًا. So Allah is showing His bounty upon us by running rivers on the surface of our planet. وَجَعَلَ لَهَا رَوَاسِيَ. A third bounty of Allah is the establishment of mountains on the surface of our earth, because without these mountains, the continental masses who are living in would have been skipping in a very fast manner, because actually these plates overlie a zone of semi-molten material, a dense material. And with the revolution of the earth around its own axis, the continental plates would be skipping and running away at a speed that would not allow soil to accumulate, water to run, plants to grow, animals to live, humans to exist. It wouldn't allow a road to be constructed, a house to be built, or anything. And that's why Allah is showing His great bounties by throwing mountains on the surface of our planet. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ حَاجِزًا. And between the two seas, He created a barrier. He made a barrier. And we said in the previous 3 verses, we had 2 verses speaking about the 2 seas with the understanding of rivers and ocean, or rivers and seas. In the 3rd verse, Surah Al-Rahman spoke about the meeting of marine water and marine water. In this 4th verse is speaking about all meetings of water, fresh and saline, and saline and saline. And this is again one of the great bounties of Allah, who has multiplied many, many environments within the seas and oceans and even the rivers through variation in the physical chemical characteristics of this fluid. And وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ حَاجِزًا. And He has made a barrier between all these different types of waters, either a horizontal barrier or a vertical barrier. And these barriers played the role of distinguishing these great different environments from one another. And then the verse ends, أَإِلَهٌ مَعَ اللَّهِ. Can, with all these bounties, with all these miraculous works of Allah, with all these miracles, with all these scientific facts in the Qur'an, can there be any other deity with Allah, or glory be to Him? And sadly enough, the main gateway for devil to distort people from their real path to their Creator is the wrong assumption of associating others with Allah. And that's why the verse ends by saying, بَلْ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Really, most of those people who associate others with Allah, they do not know the reality, and they are truly ignorant of the truth of the unity of Allah. Then we come to another character of seas and oceans, which the Quran has explained in a beautiful way. We said in the very early episodes we started with you that one of the living testimonies to the divine nature of the glorious Quran is that the verse would come in the context of an oath, or a parable, or an advice, or an invitation to good morality. And if it refers to anything of this cosmos, it remains scientifically absolutely correct, because this is the word of the Creator. And who would know the creation better than the one who has created it? We have 2 verses in Surah An-Nur. Surah An-Nur, the light, is the 24th chapter in the glorious Quran, and we have 2 verses, 39 and 40. The 2 verses speak about the deeds of the unbelievers, the deeds of those who associate others in worshipping Allah, the deeds of those who claim to be agnostics or to be atheist, or to be unbelieving. The Quran classifies their deeds in two categories. The first category is a good deed that could be achieved by any of these non-believing categories. And the Quran says that any unbelieving human being who does a good thing on the surface of that planet will be rewarded for it in this world, but he will have no reward for it in the day to come, simply because he did not believe properly in the Creator. He did not exalt the Creator above all his creation. He fell in the great, grave mistake of associating others with the Creator. So the Quran reads, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالُهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ بِقِيعَةٍ. The unbelievers, their own deeds are like a mirage in a vast expanse of the desert. كَسَرَابٍ بِقِيعَةٍ يَحْسَبُهُ الظَّمْآنُ مَاءً. Any thirsty person would look at the mirage as if it is water, and he will run towards it because he is too thirsty and he needs water. He runs towards it, and as usual, the more you draw closer to the mirage, the more it extends further away from you. So he will never reach it. كسراب بقيعة يحسبه الظمآن ماء حتى إذا جاءه لم يجده شيئا. Even if he reaches that mirage, he will never find any water in it. ووجد الله عنده فوفاه حسابه. Then he will face Allah, he will face his Creator on the Day of Judgment, and he will be given his due account justly. وَاللَّهُ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. And Allah is swift in reckoning. This first verse speaks about any good deed a non-believing person would achieve on the surface of our planet. The second verse speaks about bad deeds of unbelievers. And the verse reads, أو كظلمات في بحر لجي يغشاه موج من فوقه موج من فوقه سحاب ظلمات بعضها فوق بعض إذا أخرج يده لم يكد يراها ومن لم يجعل الله له نورا فما له من نور. The verse reads as such, or is the light of the darkness in a vast, deep, turbid sea, overwhelmed with waves, topped by other waves, topped with clouds, a multitude of overlying darknesses, one above the other. Whoever will stretch out his hand, he can hardly see it. For whoever Allah did not give light, there can never be any light for him. And look at the very precise scientific construction of this verse. Long before any human being knew anything about the facts it includes. The facts this verse includes are immense. First of all, it emphasizes that the bottoms of deep oceans, of turbid oceans, of oceans with strong waves, are in absolute darkness. Nothing of light can penetrate and reach that zone. And this by itself is a scientific fact never disclosed to man until submarines were built. And when man went down to the bottoms of seas and oceans, and he realized that actually the bottoms of seas and oceans are buried in absolute darkness. And when man started to analyze the reasons for this absolute darkness, he found that the very first reason is clouds. And as we mentioned before, clouds expel away from us 49% of the total heat of the sun. Only 51% of that heat of the sun reaches the earth. Once this amount of heat reaches the surface of seas and oceans, it finds waves, which are known as surface waves. And these surface waves can either be wind-driven waves or tidal waves. Both waves play a very important role in stopping light from reaching the depths of deep oceans and seas. And because of this, we find the oceans and seas are actually buried in absolute darkness. And I think we came to the end of this episode. We shall continue discussing this wonderful verse in the glorious Qur'an in the coming episode. And until we meet, I would love to thank you for your careful listening and greet you in our Islamic way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace, mercy, and blessings be with you all.